Hi, welcome back to my big easy home. I'm Kayla. This is where I share all of the greatest things about New Orleans events and businesses and culture and community and real estate and all the great things. It's been a while since I've done a video. I was hoping to get back to interviews after the first of the year, and with the Omicron being what it is, I don't know, I wasn't sure, honestly, what was appropriate. And so I just decided to kind of wait and see how that all went. Read something this morning that it looks like, at least the U.S. as a whole, we peaked and we're starting to see it retreat. So hopefully we will soon to see that pattern in New Orleans as well. But for the time being, just kind of waiting to see what happens. But I'm hoping in the next few weeks I could do some more interviews. I love them. They're really fun for me. I think you guys like them. So if you like the interviews and you would like me to do those again, then leave a comment and let me know that you really like those and you can't wait for them to come back. I thought that I would today just talk a little bit about real estate market in New Orleans, kind of what we might see in real estate in 2022, and maybe give you some tips on how to navigate a market like the one we're in. I attended a economic forecast summit for 2022. It was a bunch of experts in economics and different areas of real estate, all sharing their projections and their kind of predictions for what 2022 might bring. And I think the two big takeaways for me from that were, one, interest rates are expected to go up in 2022 once, twice, maybe 4 times. So just keep that in mind. As interest rates go up, mortgage payments go up, and so the higher the interest rates, the lower the price point that you might qualify for. So if you've kind of been sitting on the fence waiting to see, what's going to happen, but you really want to take advantage of the low rates, I would say get yourself in front of a mortgage person sooner than later and see where you stand, and then start looking and just kind of see if you see anything that you really like. Because as the year goes on, again, we're sort of are expecting to see that interest rates are going to go up. The second thing that really stood out to me from that summit was that experts seem to think that the housing shortage is going to persist. So we definitely see that in New Orleans. It creates a seller's market when there are fewer properties available. Then, more buyers are sort of going after the same properties. And so that can make prices increase. That competition can create an increase in price. So basic supply demand dynamics, right? And we're definitely seeing low inventory here in the New Orleans market. You might have heard, we're in a much better place than a lot of places in the country. I've heard stories from friends living, in other states that there are lines wrapped around, the block of people waiting to see a house within an hour of it hitting the market, and they get 17 offers, and the house goes for $100,000 over its asking price, and just insanity, right? They just crazy frenzy of buyer competition. And I say we're not seeing that here in New Orleans. We are seeing some similar things, but on a much smaller scale. I think the margin of increase in our property value, our property cost, has been well below the national average. I think it's 12, 13 maybe percent So the good news with that is we are unlikely here in New Orleans to create a massive, unsustainable bubble in property value. And so there's a good likelihood that if you purchase a house today, that, you know, in 5 years, that value might hold and might even increase, just sort of depending what happens, right? There are always unpredictable things that can happen, economics or just like local dynamics. So it's really hard to predict. You know, I don't have a fortune telling globe. I'm not a fortune teller. So I can only sort of go off of what experts say they think is probably going to happen, right? But yeah, so we are seeing buyer competition. So what does that look like? When a house comes on the market and it is in a desirable location, it's in decent shape, and it is well priced for what the market activity has been over the last, say, 6 to 12 months, then we're seeing a lot of competition for those properties. And sellers are accepting multiple offers, and those multiple offer competitions are resulting in some properties going for above asking price, maybe 10, 15,000 above ask. I think the highest one that I've seen over the course of the summer into the fall and now winter was, I think, maybe 50, 60,000. And that was, you know, but that property, I will say, was priced very low for its location and its condition. And so I think that's why we saw such a huge sale price over the asking price, because it was already priced really, really low. So sometimes agents will do that. They'll price a property just below its true market value in order to create that type of competition dynamic to get the best price for their clients. So my tip for navigating that type of an environment is know what your top price is and shop a little lower than that. You know, don't shop at your max price. Shop a little bit lower. Set your max to below what your true top loan value is, so that you have some room, right? And you can kind of go up in your offer price to be competitive against other offers. I will tell you this: if you work with me, and I will tell you what I think the max value is based on what I see and based on comps. And if I think that you're about to offer a price that is way too high, I'm gonna tell you, right? So don't be afraid if you have a good agent. You know, they're gonna keep you in bounds. You know, a good agent's not going to let you put in an offer at a price that's way too high, because that creates other problems in the sale process. That house has to appraise. If you're getting a loan and you're not paying cash, which most buyers are, then the property has to appraise at a value that matches the loan. So if you go too high on your offer price, then the appraisal comes in low. You either have to make up the difference in cash, or you have to rely on the seller to reduce that price. So a good agent on the selling side won't even, you know, let those super high offers come in and really compete, because we sort of know what we're setting ourselves up for down the line if those offers are just way like out of bounds, too high for the area that we're in. So shop a little bit underneath where your max is. Another thing that we're seeing in the seller's type market is some sellers are anticipating what they think the top of the market might be, and then they're pricing their property at the top, right? Hoping that, well, if their neighbor got $345,000 for their house, well, maybe we can get $360,000 for our house, and so we'll price it there, and then, you know, we've got room to negotiate. And there's some problems with that strategy. You don't get as many people in the door. Savvy buyers, and most buyers today are savvy. They're shopping on Zillow. They're looking at other prices. They're seeing what homes are worth. They know when a property is way overpriced. And if they don't, then their real estate agent will tell them, or should tell them, this is way overpriced. If you're going to make an offer on this, I recommend you come in a lot lower than what they're asking for. And those sellers are kind of hoping to get the max price. But what ends up happening is they don't get as many people through the door. They don't get the multiple offers that they're hoping for. And the property sits on the market and sits. And the longer a property sits on the market, it can sort of like, the less new and interesting it appears after a time of the property being on the market. Then they might reduce the price a little bit. Sometimes they don't go nearly low enough. And then they're just inching toward that sweet spot optimum price that if they had started there, they would have probably gotten multiple offers in the house, probably would have sold already. But they wanted to go in at the top, right? So when that is the case, eventually the price comes down where it's in a reasonable range for that property. And any good agent is going to tell you, hey, this house has been sitting on the market for 65 days, 70 days, 80 days, 190 days, whatever. You should offer low. And so the offers that they do get on those listings tend to be below even what that sweet spot right market price might have been had they come in at a price point that supported or was supported by the last 6 to 12 months of market activity. So as a seller, right, pricing the property correctly and intelligently is going to be the best strategy, rather than trying to guess what that top of the market price might be and entering the market there. Let that competition work for you. Give people a great house in a great area at a really good price and watch them fight and watch the price go up and watch them outbid each other. And then you get what is actually the maximum market, and you allow the market to tell you what that is. You don't try to tell the market what that is. And you're going to have a lot more success selling your property if you come at that strategy than if you try to come in really, really high. On the buyer's side of that dynamic, if you are patient and you can have good timing, then you can get some great properties at really good prices, even in this market, because you're capitalizing on other people's misjudgment or maybe poor strategy. And so my point with that is, you don't have to be in a bidding war. You don't have to pay $15,000 more for a house than what is being asked for it, right? It's all a matter of watching what properties are out there, knowing what kind of situation you're stepping into when you step into it, and then acting accordingly and offering accordingly. And the best way to know how to do that, and the best way to navigate through that, is to have a real estate agent like me, or a good one that you know and you trust, right? Who can help to give you those perspectives and can maybe guide you and give you some expert advice. You don't have to take it, but it's nice to have an expert who is familiar with these kinds of things to help you along through the process. So I'll recap, I guess, just really, really quickly. We are in a seller's market. We're going to probably be in a seller's market throughout 2022. Interest rates are going to go up more than likely at least once, maybe multiple times throughout the course of the year. So if you're sitting on the fence, there is no time like the present, whether it's to sell or to buy. just do it. Look, it's not the end of the world if you put an offer in on a property and you change your mind. You're gonna get a period of time, typically about 2 weeks, within which you can change your mind and you can walk away and you can get your deposit back, and no harm, no foul. And so don't be afraid to jump when those good opportunities come. Don't be afraid to make a move, right? On the other side of that, you're going to end up with a house, and you're going to own property, and you're going to build an asset. And I've never heard anyone say, I wish I had waited 5 years to buy my house, right? So there is no time like the present for that. Shop below your max price so that if you do find yourself up against other offers and in a bidding war type situation, you have some room to compete in that. Or take the other strategy and follow houses that you can sort of anticipate, or your agent might tell you, this one is really high, I think it's going to sit for a little while, and then just watch for those price decreases, watch the time on the market increase, because sellers are sitting on properties that aren't selling, and they're paying taxes on them, they're paying utilities on them, they're probably paying mortgages and insurance on them. So every month that property sits and doesn't sell, the more motivated a seller is going to be to look at a lower offer, an offer that when it first came on the market, they might have just completely dismissed offhand. So there are a couple ways to operate within this market where you can be comfortable. Again, you don't have to pay more than you're comfortable with to find a house that you love. I have clients who I actually have a couple clients who got lucky in that sort of second dynamic, right? Where the houses were a bit high, and they got really fortunate in that, their offers came in just at the right time, and they were able to get those under the asking price. So that's kind of my forecast for 2022, such as it is, and my tips for how to navigate in a seller's market and how to maybe approach your home buying experience throughout the rest of the year. Please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. If you are thinking about buying but you're not sure, reach out. Let's have a conversation. You're not obligated to anything. It's just a conversation. And it doesn't cost you anything, right? In case you don't know, working with a real estate agent as a buyer costs you $0. So get an agent early in your home buying process so that you can build that rapport and that relationship with them. Trust is really solid, and you guys are working together. They're guiding you and helping you through that process. So that's pretty much, I think, all that I have for you guys for today. I'm outside and just enjoying the weather because it's beautiful. It's overcast, but I like that weather sometimes. The temperature is just beautiful. I think it's upper 60s, maybe lower 70s out here today, and it's gonna get cold again. I think tomorrow temperatures are expected to drop, and then Friday it's gonna be like 42. The high is gonna be 42, which is cold in New Orleans, right? That's subjectively cold in New Orleans, a high of 42 degrees. So I know there's going to be gumbo happening in my house, and there's probably going to be the smells of gumbo wafting through the streets of New Orleans on Friday. So I hope you guys found something useful. Please drop a note in the comments if you did get something out of this video, or if you have questions, or if you just want to let me know what you might want to see from me, what kind of information you might want, what kind of interviews you might want, all that kind of stuff. So have a great rest of the week. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.